Hello and welcome to Math Talk, the series where I bring you math-related videos. Cue the intro. Hello, well, thanks for watching my video. Today we're going to be taking a look at mathematics and its culture, and we're going to look at the Mayan civilization. We're specifically going to look at their numbering system, but we're going to take a look at their background intro. So, the topics are background information and numbering system. Before we dive into the numbering system, let's talk history. Who were the Mayans? So, in the post-classic period and the classic period, that's when they started to grow as a civilization. That's when they developed a writing system. That's where they developed their good mathematics and their astronomy. They also made great architecture. They developed a numbering system. They did tons of amazing things. They were a unique culture. They established a religion with many gods. Where were the Mayans? Now, the Mayans lived in Mesoamerica. If you don't know where that is, let's cut to a map. We'll show you. Boom! Okay, here's a map of Mesoamerica. They lived in this general area, which is known as Mexico. Let's zoom in a bit. And as we could see, they lived in this general area, spread it out. They built hundreds of villages with maximum of 2 million population. This happened in classic period. Yeah, so this is where they lived. When were the Mayans? The Mayans have been around for thousands and thousands of years. The three main periods that we recognize is the pre-classic period, where they started picking up things, where they started enhancing their knowledge. The classic period, which was the golden era for the Mayans, and the post-classic period, which was the fall of the Mayans, which they started going down, which they started disappearing. We'll talk about that a little later. Now, everything about Mayans has to do with the pre-classic period and the classic period. The pre-classic period happened 1800 BCE to 250 AD. And the classic period happened from 250 AD to 900 AD. And the fall, the post-classic, happened from 900 to 1500. The Mayans have been around as far back as 7000 BCE. But we'll be covering the three eras that were mentioned, which were between the dates of 1800 BC to 1500 AD. Why were the Mayans? Why were the Mayans what? The Mayan numbering system! Haha! Finally, we're into the topic. Let's get started. The Mayan numbering system. This was such an interesting topic to learn about. Mayan numbering system. I can't wait to share it. The Mayan numbering system is a lot different than how we do things. Our numbering system is in a base 10 system. We have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Those are the only 9 symbols we have to know in order to write any number up to infinity. Those 9 symbols, and we do it in a base 10 system. So we have 0 through 9 with 10 digits, and we can write any number we want. Now the Mayans, get this, they only had 3 symbols they had to know to write any number given up to infinity, and they were using a base 20 system. Let's explain about their 3 symbols they used. Now we have 10 fingers. 10 fingers. This was said to have given us our base 10 system because of our 10 fingers. We used to count with them all the time back in the ancient days. That was our base 10 idea. The Mayans, they used their toes as included as a counting system. So 10 fingers, 10 toes, 20 in total. That's how they got their base 20 idea. They also used counting with natural items such as sticks, stones, probably seashells, and that's what their symbols are. That's the symbols we're going to talk about today. That's what they used. For the number 0, they used a seashell type of character. We're going to show you a picture in a second. But they used a seashell as a zero. For the number 1, they used a dot, which is represented as a stone. And for the number 5, they used a line, which is represented as a stick. So that's the only 3 symbols they've used. A seashell type of picture, a dot as a stone, and a stick, as a horizontal stick as a 5. They also wrote vertical. We'll talk about that later. But let's take a look at these pictures. Here is the Mayan 0 represented as a seashell. Over here we have a dot, which is represented as the number 1, and a line which is represented as the number 5. Now, how did the Mayans write the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, and onward? So here we see the number 0. Let's count to 19 together. So here's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, as we can see, we see that they use the dots all simultaneously together. Now, for 5, it turns into a line. So, when you can't have more than 4 dots together, it turns into a line. It converges into that line. So, let's go on to 6, 7, 8, 9. The dots are stacked on top of that line close together. And the same process as follows. The 4 dots going into 10 is another line stacked on top of it. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. All these 19 symbols were used and could give any and can be written as any amount up to infinity. Now, how did the Mayans write past the number 20? Let's take a look at our base 10 system. We write up to the number 9, then we stack numbers on the left side, known as a tenths place, and we keep stacking for higher orders of numbers, the tenths place, the hundredths place, the thousandths place. What the Mayans did past 19 in their base 20 system was stack the numbers on top of their given number, which was known as the 20th, 20 to the first powers place, 20 to the second powers place. For each stack, it's rising by nth power. Let's get into one of my most favorite facts. Let's take a look at the Mayan number 20. As we see here, we have a 1 dot in the 20th to the first place, which is 20, and the seashell below it, which is known as 0. So 20 to the first times 1 plus 20 to the 0 times 0 equals 20. Now, this seashell right here is very, very important. It's amazing how the fact that the Mayans came up with the number 0. I mean, they were by themselves as a civilization. They came up with the number 0. There's tons of other civilizations that were more advanced than them that didn't conceive the number 0, that had no number 0. Imagine if the Mayans never had a number 0. What would this number look like? That's right, a 1. So having a 0 was very, very important for the Mayans to have a working number system. With that being noted, let's take a look at how the Mayans wrote higher numbers past 19. Now, as we can see, they started at the bottom. Let's say the bottom. Let's imagine boxes being stacked on top of each other. The bottom box is 20 to the 0th position, which means In that box, they could write 0 through 19 only. Then on the top box for higher numbers, they write 0 to the 19th also, and keep rising for higher and higher numbers, with the bottom box being 20 to the 0th power. Next box being 20 to the 1st power, 20 to the 2nd power, 20 to the 3rd power. Let's take a look at an illustration. So here we have a given Mayan number. We don't know what it is, so let's dive into this problem. So each stack, we know that it starts at 20 to the 0th power and rises up to the 21st power. There are two stacks of numbers, right here being the 20s, at the bottom being the 20 to the 0th power, and this stack being the 20 to the 1st power. So let's start with the highest stack, which is this top number. We multiply it by 20 to the 1st power, and we add it to the number on bottom that's multiplied by the 20 to the 0th power, and in the end we get 212. So let's have you try a problem. We're gonna have 3 stacks this time, and I'll give you about 5 seconds in the video. Please pause it if you would like to try out a problem yourself. Remember, this is 3 stacks, so try to think carefully. Try this problem out. Wow, finished already? Let's go over it together, shall we? The top number is the Mayan number 1, which is represented as 20 to the 2nd power. So we multiply them together, and we add to the next stack, which is known as 10, which is stated as 20 to the 1st power, and we add that to the last stack on the bottom, which is 18, which is noted as 20 to the 0th power, and we get 618. Thanks for watching my video on Mayan numerals and the Mayan civilization. Hope you enjoyed. Now I leave you with a random song from my iTunes library. See ya!